Released on December 1st, 1993, Wizards of the Coast released Magic the Gathering 2nd Edition set. Named Unlimited Set, this core set had the exact same cards as the Limited Edition Beta set. One major difference, however, is the Unlimited Edition set compared to the Limited Edition Alpha and Beta had white borders of their cards instead of the black border cards from the previous sets. White border cards would have a pattern in future sets of reprinted cards up until 2007, when 10th edition switched back to the black border cards. The Unlimited Edition set products were sold in starter packs of 60 cards and booster packs of 15 cards contained in each pack. The label, Unlimited Edition, appears on the associated products of the set such as boxes, decks, and packs. Recent pricing of a sealed Unlimited booster box puts the worth at around $65,000, which is just under $5,000 from a Limited Edition Beta booster box, and $15,000 from a Limited Edition Alpha booster box. In the same month, the first expansion for Magic the Gathering was released on December 17th of 1993. The title of the first expansion set was known as Arabian Nights. This set was designed by none other than Richard Garfield, along with developers Jim Lynn, Chris Page, Dave Petty, and Scaff Elias. The print run of Arabian Nights was announced by Wizards of the Coast to be placed on a 5 million card run. Cards from the Arabian Nights set were to be sold in booster packs of 8 cards each, which contained 6 common cards and 2 uncommon cards. The total set breakdown was placed at 26 commons and 52 uncommons, but due to errors in the print run, there were 14 common cards that had mana discoloration. In the eyes of a collector, this made Arabian Nights a 92 card set, instead of the typical player seeing a 78 card set. This would start the use of an expansion symbol, with Arabian Nights symbol being the scimitar, along with the card in the set having a sand-colored text box and the use of diacritics. Arabian Nights was intended at first to be released as a standalone set. With this intention, Arabian Nights was almost printed with a yellow on pink card back instead of the now standard blue on brown that's printed on all Magic the Gathering cards. This was to distinguish the Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited cards from Arabian Nights. The story and setting for Arabian Nights was unique in Magic the Gathering for quite some time, because it was the only set to be based on a real-world setting and are not one of the planes of the multiverse. Arabian Nights was created with the inspiration of the novel The Book of 1001 Nights, along with the comic Sandman number 50 dubbed Ramadan, which actually featured characters, events, and locations from the novel itself. Beverly Marshall Salling, the head editor of Wizards of the Coast at the time, created all the Arabian Nights flavor text in one day. Because of the stark differences between the setting of Arabian Nights and the original world of Dominaria, Arabian Nights would take place on the plane Rabia, which were once ruled by creatures called the Djinni. After the Djinni weakened themselves in the spirit war known as the Jihad, the humans became the main race of Rabia. Main characters such as Aladdin, Ali Baba, and King Suleiman had lived a long time ago. After that, the plane was reproduced 1,000 times in the 1,000-fold refraction of Rabia to keep the 1001 Nights parallel going. Many stories also took place on Rabia, including the story of the Planeswalker Taser, the anthology for the City of Brass, the other Planeswalker Fatima and the Brass Men, and the origin tales of the Flying Men, the Bird Maidens, and the Serendib Ifrits. The mechanics and theme of Arabian Nights introduced and broadened numerous concepts that would have a lasting effect on Magic the Gathering. Lands from this set such as Desert and Elephant Graveyard had effects such as producing colorless land, while other land cards such as Diamond Valley and Oasis did not produce land, but instead activated other effects. The ability Stealing allowed the tapping of a card to gain unmarked control of another permanent. The Stealing ability was used in cards such as Aladdin and Old Man of the Sea. Another ability, Lifelink, was used by the card El Hajjaj, in which the player in control of El Hajjaj would gain life points equal to the damage caused by El Hajjaj. The coin flipping mechanic was introduced in the set, with cards such as Majay Jin and Yidwin Ifrit being the first cards to use coin flipping. Lastly, in game mechanics was the expansion hosing ability. Made famous by the card City in a Bottle, expansion hosing meant that there were overall negative effects on cards in a particular set. In the case of City in a Bottle, it affected any card that was originally printed in Arabian Nights. There were 10 notable cards in Arabian Nights. These cards included the lands Desert, City of Brass, the Bazaar of Baghdad, and the Library of Alexandria. The creatures Urnam Jin, Zhuzan Jin, Serendib Ifrit, and Kurd Ape also belong in this set as well, with the last two cards being Ali from Cairo and Shahrazad. Desert Red, tap to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool or do 1 damage to an attacking creature after it deals its damage. The text from the City of Brass says, tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You suffer 1 damage whenever City of Brass becomes tapped. The Bazaar of Baghdad read, tap to take 2 cards from your library, after which you must immediately discard 3 cards from your hand to your graveyard. If you don't have 3 or more cards in your hand, discard your whole hand. No spells may be cast between drawing and discarding cards. The text for Library of Alexandria read, tap to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool or draw a card from your library. You may use the card drawing ability only if you have exactly 7 cards in your hand. Urnam Jin was a 3 colorless, 1 green creature which had the power of 4 and the toughness of 5, which read, during your upkeep, you must choose one of your opponent's non-wall creatures in play. Until your next upkeep, that creature gains the Forest Walk ability. If opponent has no creatures, ignore this effect. Zhuzan Jin was a 2 colorless, 2 black creature with 5 power and 5 toughness that read, Zhuzan Jin does 1 damage to you during your upkeep. Serendib Ifrit was a 2 colorless, 1 blue creature with a power of 3 and a toughness of 4, which read, flying, Serendib Ifrit does 1 damage to you during your upkeep. Kurd Ape was a 1 red creature with the power of 1 and toughness of 1, which read, while controller has forest in play, Kurd Ape gains +1 power and +2 toughness. Ali from Cairo was a 2 colorless, 2 red creature with 0 power and 1 toughness, which read, while Ali is in play, damage that would reduce you to less than 1 life lowers you to 1 life. All further damage is prevented. The last card on our list, Shahrazad, was a 2 white sorcery card which says players must leave game in progress as it is and use the cards left in their libraries as decks with which to play a sub-game of Magic. When the sub-game is over, players shuffle these cards, return them to their libraries, and resume game in progress, with any loser of sub-game having his or her remaining life points rounding down. Effects that prevent damage may not be used to counter this life loss. The sub-game has no ante, using less than 40 cards may be necessary. Here's also some 3 short, interesting facts about Arabian Nights. The first one, in a matter of 6 months, the price of 1 booster pack of Arabian Nights rose from $1.50 each pack in December 1993 to $5 each pack in May of 1994. The second one, due to a major print run error with Arabian Nights, the most printed card in all of Magic the Gathering is actually the basic land Mountain. And also, the third fact, a sealed booster box of Arabian Nights is worth around $10,000. In an auction back in 2003, an unopened case of Arabian Nights sold for $95,000. The case included 10 sealed booster boxes of the Arabian Nights set. That is all I have today, everybody. If you like our Magic the Gathering Card Anthology series, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you missed our first episode where we talk about the alpha and beta sets, please hit the link below our video description. Visit us on our social media pages at www.facebook.com/cardbazaar361, and you can also follow us on Twitter at cardbazaarcc. This is Coach, signing out. You guys have a wonderful day.